Hey guys, Kiki Kannon here with Kannon Studios, and welcome to my streaming room. But we are going to head over to the studio really quick. Today's video is actually going to be about dyeing translucent resin. I printed these on my Elegoo Mars printer using translucent resin, and the video is just going to go over different things that I try to use to dye them. So feel free to enjoy. I plan on making more videos like this and many other videos, so feel free to subscribe for more. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I already have my pieces printed, so if you're curious in the process of resin printing, you can go ahead and check out my video, Resin Printing for Beginners. And the biggest difference is I'm just using translucent resin instead of the gray resin. So as you can see, they come out really clear with no bubbles in them. And here's one that I kind of took off the supports, and you can see that there are a little bit of imperfections, but with some nice sanding, you should be able to kind of get rid of any of these imperfections. But because this video is just focused on dyeing, I'm not going to really do that cleanup process. But we are going to use this alcohol to clean off any excess resin on our pieces. I also normally use mean green, but because that chemical has this green tint to it, I was worried that it might distort the color a little bit, so I decided to go ahead and refrain from doing that. Just gonna clean up the remainder dice so you guys can see the process here. Going to set the dice aside so that they can dry, and I tried to use as a little amount of supports as possible. This seemed to be the amount I was able to get away with. If I use any less amount of supports, the dye does not completely form, and using too many will create more work to clean up. So it created kind of a interesting design here. It almost looks like snowflakes to me. And when the resin comes off, it's very clear and shiny. You lose that when you clean with the alcohol, but we're going to be able to get that back. So I decided to do an experiment trying various things to try to dye the resin that I didn't really see people use, or I didn't really see as much, because there's some things that I saw definitely work. So I tried to be consistent with my experiment, using water as my base. For the So Strong dye by Smooth On, it is very potent, so I decided to just do 2 drops because it is a very potent thing. I'm even having to go in and kind of mix it up since it is so thick. So this airbrush paint I've had in my studio for who knows how long, honestly. I think it's been there for a while, but as you can see, there's not really a lot in there, so how much I'm using is kind of questionable, but I'm going to go ahead and put part of the 100 milliliters water in there to kind of shake it up and pour it out. I'm not really thinking that this one's going to work really well based on how it's coming along, but you never really know. We'll just go ahead and see how that's just going to go ahead and work. The Rite Dye one so far looks like it's not doing a lot, but you know, maybe it needs more time. Maybe it needs a different base, not water. Here we have airbrush paint, and let's see, it kind of looks like it is maybe picking up a little bit of color. maybe like a lighter blue colors maybe sticking there. It's hard to tell if it's gonna work, but we will see. The food coloring one I feel like is looking, you know, pretty good. It looks like it's gonna be like a nice tinted blue. It looks kind of like it's sticking on there. And let's look at Smooth On So Strong dye here. I'm a little bit worried about this one because it looks kind of like not even, but you know, we'll wait and see. And the one I'm least excited about, because this stuff's probably very expired, it looks like there's still kind of chunks in there, and you know, I don't know, but you know, we're just doing this for fun. So because I wanted to go ahead and try something else, I went ahead and went to the store to get some acrylic ink. I had some in my shop, but I didn't have blue, and I kind of wanted to have a consistent color. So I did one with drops and no water, and then I did one with 5 drops and 100 milliliters water, just to kind of see. So the one with the drops looks like it has a decent amount on there, but it's not very even. And the other one looks like it didn't really stay very well. I might have to do another try with this one with less water, because it does look like the ink wants to stick on the dye. So far here we let them sit for a while, and this is the Rite dye, which actually looks like it took the color pretty well. I think it looks pretty good. There's a cat hair there, but otherwise yes. And here is one of the airbrush paints, and I let this sit for probably way too long because the water levels kind of evaporated, so it ended up not being particularly even. So on some of them I got kind of like this weird sides where the paint kind of ended up sticking, which isn't what I was trying to do. And here's the food coloring one, and it literally looks like all of the dye just came off of it, and it looks pretty much the same, so that one didn't do much at all. And here's the other last airbrushing paint that we have here, and it kind of looks lighter, but we'll see. We'll compare them all. And here's the So Strong dye, and actually it looks like this kind of stuck pretty well. It looks really well, but as you can see, it's super potent, so it's very, very dark. But otherwise I would say it was a successful experiment with the So Strong dye. I would say the Rite dye worked well, and it is dry now, so good for the Rite dye. Oh, Cersei cat. And this one looks like it kind of has like a light blue tint, but otherwise I felt like it didn't really do much. I mean, it colored it more than some of the other ones, but overall I would say, you know, I don't know, maybe I'd have to experiment with it more. It looks kind of like the food coloring literally did nothing at all. Like, it just did nothing. Even this one, which I wasn't as excited about, looks like it took out some of the yellow at least, and it's more clear, but also didn't do much. And last, our Smooth On piece here, which worked pretty well. So I would say out of these, definitely the Rite dye and the Smooth On works pretty well. So I didn't forget about the acrylic ink pieces. So here we have the one that was in 100 milliliters water, and as you can see, it didn't take much color. The other one I polished with the other two that look like they took more color, and on the polishing wheel it kind of took off a lot of the dye since it dyed kind of surface level, but it still held some of the color. I decided to try polishing them first before any kind of clear coat, but I think for my next video I might experiment with some clear coat or some other things. So I hope you guys found my video maybe somewhat helpful. Feel free to hit that like button. I have planning on more dyeing videos coming of translucent resin, but I have so many more videos to make because I decided to start making videos because of COVID, which then canceled all the events. So I've had all this free time at home. So I've been making costumes since 2003, and over the years I've acquired so much information. So I feel like I am excited to continue to make videos. So if you have a suggestion, feel free to comment below and I'll see what I can come up with. If not, I hope you enjoy what I end up making and maybe you guys get inspired to make something or just experiment in the studio. So thank you so much, guys. Bye.